What is up, everyone? Welcome to today's video. You are on the Craving Classics YouTube channel. My name is Tyler, and today I will be replacing the timing belt on my 1986 Nissan 300ZX. Right now I'm just getting everything apart. Already got the fan off, a few pulleys, getting ready to pull the timing cover itself off and get a look at the belt. The cover says TB71K, which means the timing belt was probably last replaced at 71,000 miles. The car has 140,000 on it now, so it's definitely time. And once I've gotten this cover off, you'll be able to see that there's quite a bit of play in the belt. It's stretched out and it has signs of cracking starting in it, so it's definitely time. This is the bolt holding your balancer on. You're going to want to use an impact to break that loose. If you don't have an impact, or for whatever reason can't get one in there, you can use a breaker bar and kind of rest it on the frame rail while you turn the car over a little bit with the starter. I don't really recommend doing it, but it does work. Right now I'm using a puller to remove the balancer. Once you've gotten that off, you can get that lower timing cover off and everything. Right here I'm removing the timing belt tensioner. You're going to want to replace the tensioner, the spring behind it, as well as the stud that it's mounted to. I'll be replacing all three. There's really no reason not to if you're in here. I'll also be replacing the water pump. That's what I'm removing right now. This is another thing you should probably replace while you're in here. Using a breaker bar, I kind of lock up the cam gears. It allows me to break those bolts loose. If you're to this point, you're probably going to want to replace your cam seals, which are behind these gears. So I'm going to go ahead and remove these and replace those seals while I'm in here. I'd highly recommend doing this. I've gone ahead and cleaned all of the parts using a degreaser. Then I went over everything with a wire wheel. Got everything pretty clean. Wiped everything down with some alcohol. Everything's ready to be painted now. I'll be using a Duplicolor engine ceramic paint. It's just in a rattle can. It works really well. I've had good results with it. Sprays real even, and if you use a heat gun between coats, you'll end up with a pretty good result. The color I'm using is cast coat iron for the covers. Got the block cleaned up for where the pump goes. I've already wire wheeled everything and put a little fresh paint on there. I've removed the old cam seals, as you can see. Here's the new pump with the gasket on it. I coat both sides of the gasket and then I wait 5 minutes or so before I put it on there. I install the bolts hand tight, wait another 5 or 10 minutes, and then I go back in and torque everything. You'll get a better seal this way. It allows the sealant to set up a little bit. And then once I finished installing this water pump, I went ahead and installed the cam seals. As you can see here, both cam seals are in. Wanted to show you guys what the distributor should look like. Should be pointing towards cylinder number 1. You're going to want this on top dead center. Cylinder number 1 before you pull it apart and before you put it together. This is an interference engine. If you get that wrong, you will destroy your engine. As I mentioned, you're going to want to replace your tensioner. Here's the part number for the tensioner stud. That's the stud that the tensioner itself rests on. You're going to want to replace that, as well as the spring for the tensioner, which is right here, and that's the part number for that as well. Now I am installing the timing belt itself. This is the important part, guys. You're going to want to make sure everything lines up perfectly here. Make sure your belt's facing the right way. Often belts are directional. This belt has a front side. As you can see, the arrows pointing to the front there. You're going to want the lines to match up with your cam gear dots. You're going to want those to match up with the dots on the back cover. You're also going to have a mark on your crank sprocket. That should be in line with the groove or notch on that cover down below, as you can see here. Next, you're going to want to adjust your tensioner. I tighten mine down to where the belt becomes difficult to twist past 90 degrees, if that makes any sense. Here's about how much tension I've got on it, just for visual reference. I'm not exactly sure what the manual says on the adjustment process for this specific car, but I just kind of go by feel. I've installed all of the pulleys and belts, accessory belts here, and I'm getting ready to fill it up with coolant. I'm going to let it come up to operating temperature, get all the air bubbles and air pockets out of the system. And then I've also cleaned up the fan shroud and a few engine covers here. As you can see, the engine bay is starting to clean up a little bit. But that's going to be it for today's video, guys. Hopefully you've enjoyed. I'll catch you in the next one. Peace.